start with our conference on the new telecommunication infrastructure for the financial sector by José Reynoso, who was born in Mexico City in 1968, and he has a degree on accounting with a specialty in businesses and IT. Mr. Reynoso has developed his last 24 years of professional experience in Grupo Carso, starting in the financial group in Bursa. Then he went to Teléfonos de México, a company where he has been in the following positions: Northeast Division Director, Northwest Division Director, and South Division Director. Since 2018, Mr. Reynoso has the responsibility of the Director of IT and the Commercial Director of Entrepreneurial Director. It's a pleasure that he's joining us, and I give the floor to him now.
Thank you very much, Vicky. It's a pleasure to be here with you in this Prosa forum where we're reflecting on how technology drives this great financial sector. It's a motor of the Mexican economy, and we have a great commitment to it to continue promoting it and developing it in a point in time when we have environments without precedent, pandemic risks and opportunities that I'm going to be reflecting on with you, so that based on this, we can design this new world, this new environment where technology, a key factor for evolution, should dictate the pace and the direction that we travel to be able to serve our increasingly demanding customers who want more and more innovation. What are the challenges that we face as we look at innovation? IDC mentions that there are 5 great factors that are driving technological evolution toward innovation. The first is the Internet of Things, where today, based on connected devices, more and more complex environment is being built, where we need, first of all, not just to monitor more and more devices, such as ATMs and sensors at branches or devices that are in the customer's hands, but also to give those devices a value that will allow us to provide context based on their georeference and location. And therefore, artificial intelligence allows us to offer the way in which we can take that information to provide context, better diagnosis in response times, better care of our customers, and also new offerings based on a more personalized design. Artificial intelligence allows us to better understand what our customer desires, to create recommendations of products, profile the customer better, and also create a more appropriate demand of products and services which will give value for that customer, which is demanding more and more of us. A third technological factor is the enormous growth we've seen in analytics and big data. We need to identify with this potential that we have in technology, we need to identify our customers better. Who is that frequent consumer? Who is that potential customer or lost customer that today, with a better offering, more suited to his needs, we could recover? And how can we also better plan our capabilities and develop those new products that will better adapt to the needs of our customers? These 3 factors require undoubtedly computer capacity, which is of course found in the cloud, which allows us to meet these technological demands without having to invest and without need to wait long periods of time to enable them, and also to be able to react quickly to any failure and improve our product with less waiting time for our customer. And the 5th factor is software. Now we think of it not so much as software as a service, but rather as server capabilities, where we don't worry now about the type of technology, what type of computing or what type of storage it will require, but rather we focus more on the availability with rapid arrival at the market. These 5 key factors help us to think that innovation is in our hands. However, to be able to adopt them, we need to realize that we do face challenges. And the first great challenge is this digital transformation that we're experiencing today. And digital transformation requires having the ability to, with the lowest investment possible, devote it to technologies that will allow us to get greater value out of the data. Technology should help us also to change the culture and the business model that we have today at our institution, and seek also to transform the way in which we relate to the customer, individualizing the service offerings and offering the customer a greater capacity of access to our technological areas to develop along with the customer what we call DevOps. More and more businesses use DevOps. 23% of businesses, IDC says, in Mexico use DevOps as a way to integrate products and services at the speed that the customer expects, because we also have businesses that come into the world that have no bricks or cement. These are native technological businesses that use new technologies, both financial, taking advantage, of course, of the new regulation, financial digital regulation, to be able to accelerate that presence in the market in a very disruptive manner. So, having these 2 factors in concordance, we need to also focus on 4 general directions that for me are key to use technology and give it value. The first is reputation. We need to realize that more and more the use of technology requires concentration of our work on seeking to have fewer failures in the experience of our users. Of the complaints received in the financial sector, 41% focus on non-authorized consumptions, 17% on unauthorized electronic transfers, and 13% having to do with unauthorized cash withdrawals at ATMs. This requires that we strengthen the way that we provide immediacy of information to our users, protecting, of course, the technological assets that we have and the financial assets that we have in our hands as trustees for our customers. And also, to be able to provide this factor of reputation, we need to always have our network up. We're not talking only about availability, but we're talking about the right methodology to be able to provide continuity through the entire technological ecosystem around the technology. Computing, storage, data transfer technology, and security. This is a fundamental part of the right technological transformation. Mexican businesses are more and more concerned now about providing that availability of holistic digital infrastructure to be able to provide that excellent experience that our customers require. A third key factor here is to provide a guarantee of service, so that to those services that are indispensable for running the business. Society requires, as businesses do, that the digital infrastructure allow for online services that are more and more continuous, always guaranteeing that continuity. Indispensable services today for life are online purchasing, for example, now. The management of a transaction at a branch with a card, or maybe remotely through digital financial transactions, as well as transactions at ATMs. And this is a key part of these services that are indispensable for the operation of an economy like we have in Mexico. So each one of us needs to ensure that we build a cybersecurity environment, something that we build not individually, but as a an industry where we also find a way not only to conduct our day-to-day security services, but also the way that we transform this new technological adoption, these new applications, these new services that require full traceability and the code to be able to ensure security that is required today. The customer is boss. We know all of that. Serving them is more and more demanding now. A customer today who goes to the branch less frequently needs to have his telephone service improved more and more. 58% growth has been seen in customers' preference to be served over an omni-channel where social networks play a key role in that construction of a new way to communicate, to be able to have a satisfactory service that the customer expects. And for this, we need to have the capacity to operate anywhere with any technology. Anywhere, everywhere. That's the factor that we hear today in the industry, where we require, of course, and we see it during the pandemic, to change and transform the organizational culture of our work teams to be able to come up with the productivity, quality, and effectiveness, regardless of where our collaborator is, who is serving the customers in this new manner. These challenges that we see in the industry, of course, require 4 factors to be able to be built. First of all, to have connectivity where the network, beyond just having simply a physical connection, also requires dynamic, scalable construction, which can also be shared among various applications. We also need elastic computing that can orchestrate with our data center, our core, which undoubtedly we will keep at our center for many more years, but which, of course, requires scaling with the factors and abilities of flexibility, platforms where that innovation is included, and, of course, cybersecurity, where we are having to ensure that where borders no longer exist and the territory of attack has increased, our users must have an application where more and more they need to be provided that a cybersecurity factor, but also we need to create that cybersecurity culture and the culture of care of information, which our customer now demands. An additional reflection regarding the Internet of Things, which is not a minor factor in the telecommunications industry. The growing evolution of technology and increased connectivity in mobile networks has led us now to have 59 million devices connected, 50 billion devices worldwide, which these are devices that don't necessarily have to be connected to a person at a given time. These intelligent devices require an enormous capacity among networks to be able to operate. They also need a high level of security and great availability of energy. These 3 factors, which will provide capacity to the technological environment, needs to be orchestrated in an intelligent way, and we need to provide that business continuity, which will allow us to include anything at any time, anywhere, in any manner, and provide that value context for the sector, which is demanding more and more in this technological evolution. In financial transactions, we need more and more interconnectivity among the industries in our modern world. Key orchestration to achieve this value. These devices, these applications, need to be given the ability to be orchestrated not only in network technology, starting, of course, from the center, our data center, our computer center, our corporate headquarters, but also in branches and in contact centers, which are being asked to provide better and better service regardless of where they're located, but also in the hands of our users through mobile devices. This orchestrated network is necessary, but also the network needs to be interconnected with services of platforms that we've already mentioned, which can be receiving from a telecommunication provider, for example, the ability to offer this service of orchestrating networks where these applications are interconnected with 3 or 4 different technologies or different services that reside in different clouds and provide traceability of experience for the user. It's obvious that we can achieve this, and none of this would be possible if we didn't have connectivity that could adapt to the way in which each cloud demands and each technology demands that there be transparent and safe transactions in all services. This traditional telco that we had in the past, where it was only for devices or networks, in the new telco that evolves to provide this experience of consumption of computing services, not only on the premises of the financial company, but also in the hand of the customers, on demand, with flexible capacities, and with the focus toward seeking to find a user experience that is satisfactory. Beyond talking of technological infrastructure focused on traditional levels of service, today we have to focus on providing a technological experience in line with what the user is experiencing, because ultimately what the user is looking for today in growing mobile banking industry, is growing at 42% now, services need to be more and more personalized. They need to be more holistic, and they need to have technological evolution capacity as they integrate different services in an agile manner. And of course, they need to have the ability to be reliable, fast, and safe to be able to orchestrate all this technological environment, having the center as its focus. And this should characterize the new telco, which is a key factor in technological evolution. We have a wonderful world ahead of us, a world where technology leads us to think that our work has enormous value as we orchestrate an economy from end to end, thanks to the technological capacity that today the digital world offers us. I wish you much success in this technological adventure, and of course, I'm eager to hear any questions or comments that you may have regarding this technological design that together we are building for Mexico. Thank you for this time. Thank you, Prosa, and I wish you the best of successes in this technological adventure.
Entramos. Pues aquí ya nos empiezan a llegar algunas preguntas. Muchas gracias. Veo una primera pregunta en donde nos...
We're beginning to receive some questions here. Thank you very much. The first question is, what is the greater or more relevant challenge, connectivity or cybersecurity? Undoubtedly, networks have had very dynamic evolution. Remember, in the financial sector, we were born with totally private networks, isolated from the world of internet, where connections were directly to our data centers. However, today we need to orchestrate operations with solutions that are based in the cloud, or they may be based in software solutions as a service. To get to know our customers better, we need to be RCMs that are within the institution, or we connect to contact center services in the cloud, which also also evolve and require work through services which are in a data center which we are unfamiliar with. We don't know where exactly they're located, or we use the information and the data of our business to be able to analyze information and to incorporate in artificial intelligence tools or advanced data analytics. So the challenge of security is also being faced today with work at home, where we have more devices connected now than we traditionally had. We may have an official here in an institution having his desk computer. Now we're having to control ports in the homes of our customers, in the homes of our institution officials. The attack surface, of course, has grown. So today the challenge is to grow in both areas. Connectivity, of course, has to be much more to be interconnected to hybrid clouds. And number two, we have to grow at the same time in security at all layers. Physical security, perimeter security, safety of devices for computing and so on, as well as in the applications that we use. And we need to focus also on the culture and education and capacity to take this digital education to the population. A second question that we have here has to do with the cloud. It says, much is being said about the cloud. What is the adoption percentage currently by businesses and users, and how reliable and safe is the cloud? Well, that's a great question. And of course, with a great acceleration in terms of technology, cloud solutions, understood as safety platforms, have shown a very great growth. What we observed in 2021, there's been a growth of about 29%. In 2022, the growth rates, according to IDC, will rise to 36%. And as far as the growth rates of for software as a service, that growth is around 20% for 2021. And for 2022, there's an estimated growth of about 29%. Adoption by businesses, and we're talking about workloads being sent to the cloud that are growing at a rate of about 9 to 12%. And of course, growth rates that we're mentioning here speak of an enormous unfolding. So we have another part of the question is, how reliable and safe are they? Well, the technological capacity of the cloud with a good design promises redundancy, replicability of all the elements that are associated with it: computing, storage, backup, connectivity, power. All of this is guaranteed by the cloud. And of course, what we also need to look for at the time of making a choice is, how can we orchestrate this with our private cloud, our private computing services? A hybrid cloud is a fundamental part of this solution. One final question: how is industry working to have all points of contact safe in a transaction from the very beginning to the end of the transaction? Undoubtedly, the way to do this is through certifications. Prosa works specifically in a hard manner in this area with to have safe financial institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, José Reynoso, for your presentation. And thank you for answering all the questions from our viewers.